So today is my 28th day of my water fast. Last year I had some health challenges. I had a very unfortunate incident at my house. There was a big burglary, my back got fractured. And so for the first time in my life, I had to take painkillers, morphine, medication. I went to hospital. And so I really wanted to detox all of that out of my body. Both the physical side, but also the emotional side, the spiritual side, the trauma of the situation. There was a story about a man who did a 6-day water fast. He was an athlete who had many injuries, and he healed himself during this water fast of many of the pains and aches he was complaining from. And so I thought maybe it would help with the healing of my spine following the fracture. Dr Lodi was really helpful in preparing me for the water fast. So it's not just a case of jumping in and just having water. There's a process to it. So it's very important to eliminate the waste from the body, so colonics and that sort of thing, sweat out toxins, because you're not consuming anything. So you don't want those toxins to be just swimming around your body for the duration of the water fast. So I did that initially when I first came. I did 1 day of green juice and obviously the elimination stuff. Then he put me on a ketogenic diet for 3 days. And the idea was to build up the store of good fats so that I had a reservoir for when I started. I think that really helped because typically the first 3 days of a water fast, I've done 5-day water fasts and 7-day water fasts before in London, are really, really hard because your body's shifting from burning glucose into ketosis. But I think my body already started doing that because of the ketogenic diet, which made the transition to water a little easier. I still did have headaches the first 3 days. I felt a bit sluggish. I pined over everybody else's food in the dining room. But I think after day 3, my body shifted into ketosis. In fact, I know it did because obviously they measure it here. As I shifted more into ketosis, my hunger levels went down. I really feel, number one, it's a test of willpower because I could have stopped any time. They said, they're measuring my heart rate, my glucose levels, my whatever, so that if my vital stats show any deviation, they'll stop me anyway. But of course, I have free will to stop it if I want to. So it's definitely a test of willpower, firstly, and I'm really surprised that I'm able to last so long. I feel like my mental clarity is a little sharper. Day 15, for example, I just started crying. I don't know why. I've done Vipassana meditation for 10 days, silent retreat, and I've done many other things, and everyone says, oh, you might start crying and laughing uncontrollably, but nothing like that ever happened to me before. But this time, for the first time in my life, I just started crying for no reason. There was definitely an emotional release. And of course, while I'm here, I'm doing the yoga and the meditations, and I'm making most of all the other activities, the Tai Chi and stuff like that, so I'm sure it all helped. Yeah, it's surprising how much energy you can have just on water. But I guess, I had some reserves that I'm using up, so that's great. I've also lost weight, of course. I've lost 4.5 kilos. I've done 5 and 7-day water fasts at home before myself. I would not recommend doing anything longer than that without being supervised. I think it's really, really important. Every single day here, they check my ketone levels to make sure that I'm still in ketosis, because at some point, if my body decides it's not producing ketones anymore, then I don't have fuel, and that's quite dangerous. It's really important to have that monitored. The blood glucose, they check the heart rate. If the heart rate goes up too much, it means the body's in distress, and so it's very important to stop as well. So I think that's important. They check my blood pressure and stuff like that. So every day they're doing these checks, and I think that's really important, number one. Number two, I had questions about my symptoms, and I think it's really important to have someone to be able to go to with those questions. Like, for example, there were times when I woke up and got out of bed and I felt really lightheaded and dizzy. And Dr. Lodi explained that I'm dehydrated, I'm not drinking enough water. And I find it really hard to drink 4 liters of water a day sometimes. So on the days that I can't do that, he gives me intravenous saline, so I make sure I have the hydration I need. And it's when you're feeling a little weak, they give you Himalayan Salt water shots just to build up your minerals. which I wouldn't have known about if I hadn't come actually. But they come and find you and give it to you no matter where you are. So that's really helpful. Obviously your body is detoxing significantly while you're doing a water fast. So it's very good to keep doing the kind of all the remedies that help detoxify, like the colon cleansing and stuff like that, to make sure you're eliminating those toxins. So that's really helpful too. But I think for me, the biggest advantage about doing this in a center rather than doing it at home is just to be away from distraction, because then it becomes a really true emotional, spiritual, physical detox in every sense of the word. Because of course our mind, body and spirit is completely interlinked, and to be in an environment that's so beautiful, you're in the middle of nature, overlooking a gorgeous lake, breathing in fresh air, which is also part of the detox versus busy city life. You're also detoxing from work, from stress, from people's just noise, hearing gossip or hearing people's news. It's just noise, unnecessary noise. And it gives you an opportunity to turn inwards, reflect, to really harness and optimize the experience. I think it's been really, really good to have the education and the nutrition information, and there's cooking demonstrations where they explain what they use and why they use it and stuff like that, which has been really helpful to make a lifestyle like this more sustainable. I mean, I studied nutrition, so of course for me it's a little different, but I think, even if you lead an unhealthy lifestyle, it's still important to detox a couple of times a year, just to reset the system, give it a break, even if you're going to go back to your old lifestyle. Ideally you don't go back to your old lifestyle, and every time you do a detox, you take away one more thing that you can implement. What I like about LifeCo is that there's a lot of emphasis on education and explaining why they do what they do, to make sure that people get that value that transitions into when they go home as well. Yeah, so overall it's been a great experience. I'm really glad I tried it. I'll definitely be back here. It's been great. Everyone's been really supportive during my time of water fast. I can't think of a better environment to do something like this. So thank you.